The FBI really wants our help on this one.
It's going to be a great show.
So let's settle up. I'm John Walsh, and I've dedicated my entire life to locking up the worst criminals.
We're tracking down one of the most ruthless gangs of lawbreakers we've ever gone after.
My son Callahan and I are fired up. With your help, we're coming for fugitives, hunting them down, and putting them right where they belong, behind bars, including these that you'll see tonight. It was supposed to be an epic day on the water, but a fishing trip turned into a deadly ambush. We need to ID these dangerous suspects on the loose. Then, a hard-working father is gunned down outside a strip mall in broad daylight. Now his accused killer is one of the FBI's 10 most wanted. Let's find Omar Cardenas. Later, it was a bold bank heist caught on camera, pulled off by a goon with a gun, nerves of steel, and a plan to disappear. We're on the hunt for a bank robber the FBI calls the Red Hat Guy. And finally, tonight, canine cop Bo the Bloodhound is here. His nose for justice just earned him the honor of top dog in America. America's Most Wanted is the original true crime series, and we're back. You can run, but you can't hide. Hello, everyone. I'm John Walsh.
And I'm Callahan Walsh.
And this is America's Most Wanted. The AMW catch counter is at 1,198 thanks to you, but we're not stopping there. Tonight, we've got a whole new lineup of dangerous fugitives that we urgently need your help to take down, including one suspected killer at large, and I mean a large 300-pounder, who's landed on the FBI's 10 most wanted list.
Since we started, AMW has helped capture 17 of the FBI's top 10.
We're also on the hunt for a bank robber whose low-key approach has authorities completely baffled. Helping us crack the case is one of the most prolific bank robbers in the whole country, Kane Vincent Dyer, who was arrested after being featured right here on AMW. He'll give us rare insight into how these heists go down.
Remember, when you call us or go to our website, you'll always remain anonymous. But these bad guys, well, they can run, but they can't hide.
All right, let's saddle up and get to work. Our first case comes from Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, a quiet beach town and fisherman's paradise, where the biggest worry is the next big catch, and violent crime is unheard of. But all that changed when what should have been an exciting day on the water became a day of bloodshed.
Randy was the love of my life. We were high school sweethearts together for 44 years, and I thought I was gonna have him forever.
Time.
Everybody loved Randy, and there was nothing he wouldn't do for me or nothing I wouldn't do for him.
Randy Miller was a very, very special type of person. We both worked for IBM, and Randy retired 2 or 3 years before me. When I retired, we just did everything together. Golf, bike, and all of a sudden he said, I'm gonna become the best fisherman in the world. We had huge plans about traveling, and I had the house in Atlantic Beach, so we would come down here and stay 3 or 4 days at my house, and the one thing in August was going for the big reds.
Holy, that's the biggest red I've ever seen.
I might even win the dollar. Good job.
This redfish comes in only late August, early September. So bucket list item, we're coming to my house and we're gonna spend 3 or 4 days hunting for the big reds. The plan was to start at 5 o'clock. I woke up in the morning, went upstairs. Randy is dressed, had breakfast. He's like, you ready? So I quickly said, okay, I need a few minutes. I told him, go ahead and start getting the boat ready.
Randy didn't know it, but he was not alone on the quiet street.
I think around 5:30, I was up, and I was also in the front bedroom, and that's when I heard a really loud distress scream and looked out. There is someone out there standing over top of Randy. Hey! Hey! So I yelled at him, hey! And that's when the perpetrator ran off. I yelled to my wife, Leslie, and I said, hey, call 911, there's been an attack.
911, what's the emergency? Something terrible's happened. Someone has been attacked outside. I think I'm gonna need to go on out.
I just went running down in my pajamas and end up at Randy's side.
Randy, I'm right here. This is your neighbor, Leslie.
Is there any serious bleeding?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right, ma'am, the paramedics are on their way.
Oh, Randy, honey.
As I headed down the stairs, I heard some noise outside, not quite sure what it was. And as I walked out of the garage, I saw Randy. He was laying on the driveway right in front of the boat. I saw some blood, and he slowly was losing his breath and not looking very good. He was conscious, but he didn't describe what was happening to him. His last words to me, "I'm not gonna make it, John." And I looked at him and I said, "You gotta be kidding. We're gonna be fishing this afternoon. They're gonna take you and, bandage up, and we'll be back on the boat by 6 o'clock tonight." And that was the last I saw of him. It just ripped me apart. It was the worst moment in my life.
It kind of haunts me that I didn't get that final goodbye with Randy. Because most people get to be with their loved one when they pass, but I wasn't with Randy. I wasn't holding his hand to say that you're going to be okay.
1023, you got the crime scene over there?
My name is Detective Doug Harvey with the Atlantic Beach Police Department, Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. I got to the residence, immediately started getting information from the eyewitnesses. They were able to give me an approximate height and weight of the suspect, dark clothing. Beyond that, there was nothing to go on. But there was 2 houses almost directly across from where John and Randy were staying at. There was a camera. One video, you see 3 suspects walking by. They were breaking into cars, checking door handles, see if the cars were unlocked. But as luck would have it, we did get a video right across the street from John's house. You look closely enough at that corner, you just see that it captured the attack. And you will actually hear Mr. Miller scream.
Cops have been working nonstop trying to figure out who these creeps are. It was dark, and the cameras weren't able to ID them, but a 911 caller spotted a black male running from the scene. Someone out there knows the identities of these 3 fugitives, and your tip could blow this case wide open. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations is offering a $75,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and convictions of these alleged killers.
Coming up, a major break in the murder of Randy Miller, thanks to a surprising connection to another alleged murder case. Then, an innocent father is executed outside a busy strip mall. Now, the ruthless gang member who fired the shots is on the run. Let's bring this dirtbag in. And later, he looked like your average customer until he said, "I'm ready to die. Give me all the money." It's a gutsy bank heist, and the whole thing caught on camera. But first, we need your help finding these lowlifes. Please take a good look. It's a terrifying scene in Chicago, Illinois. Pumping gas takes a deadly turn when 2 suspects open fire, killing a man in broad daylight. It all began when the suspect's blue Nissan pulled into a BP gas station on South Morgan Street on Chicago's South Side. Suspect 1 enters the store first, openly holding a gun and a cigarette. His accomplice follows closely behind. These 2 appear to look around, hoping to catch sight of their victim. Moments later, they leave, keeping an eye on the store's exit. Soon after, the victim exits the store, just off camera. That's when the gunfire erupts, striking the victim off camera. Patrons duck for cover. Miraculously, no one else is hit as 22 rounds spray the area. The 32-year-old male victim later died at a nearby hospital. The dramatic aftermath, all caught on camera. The suspects are described as black men, both with a medium build. They were last seen driving a blue Nissan. If you recognize them, call us or go to amwtips.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. It was a robbery that turned deadly. Randy Miller was ambushed and stabbed while loading his boat up for a fishing trip. Now, authorities say they've uncovered a new clue that could finally crack this case.
911, what's the emergency?
Someone has been attacked outside.
Okay, do you know if any weapons were involved?
Randy was stabbed one time by a very sharp knife, approximately 6 inches long. I believe it was a crime of opportunity. I believe he tried to rob Randy. But there was no robbery. One of the reasons maybe why was because Walker confronted the guy by shouting, "Hey!" And the guy got scared and decided that he was going to take off. We don't usually get these kind of violent crimes in Atlantic Beach, so that's when I called in the SBI.
We wanted to know where these 3 individuals that were on camera, where they went. We were able to collect video surveillance, identify a vehicle of interest.
But with obscured surveillance images, law enforcement was unable to identify the car's license plate. So, with the case at a standstill, the SBI agents took inspiration from another difficult case that had captured the nation's attention just a few years prior.
Brian Koberger, the suspect in a quadruple homicide of 4 college students in Moscow, Idaho, was arrested after investigators connected him to the crime through DNA evidence, cross-referenced with ancestry databases, and a white Honda Elantra registered in his name caught on surveillance fleeing the scene.
The SBI agents were able to get the surveillance video to the very same FBI expert who broke the Moscow, Idaho case. Using proprietary software that cross-references a multitude of vehicle design elements with the surveillance footage, the FBI expert identified the car's make and model.
What came back was a 2013 to 2017 Volkswagen CC. And unfortunately, to this day, there have been no significant leads to help solve this case.
I wake up every morning and I relive the experience that happened here. I think if they were able to capture these individuals so that they can never do this to anyone else again, that would give me some level of comfort. It'll never bring Randy back. My life will never be the same. Sue's life will never be the same. But I think I will feel better when they are behind bars.
Now I'm angry. You know, I want these people caught because it's like they get to live their lives. You know, they're not paying the price of what they did. You know, this guy had a choice. He did not give my husband a choice. I mean, it breaks my heart that he's not here.
Joining us now is someone who knows the heartbreak of losing a loved one to a random violent crime, Scarlett Wachter. Her son, General Hospital star Johnny Wachter, was senselessly murdered in May 2024 when he interrupted thieves trying to steal his car. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
We belong to the same horrible club, parents of a murdered child.
Yes, yes.
Tell us what happened to Johnny.
He was getting off his bartending shift and walking to his car with a coworker. Street light was burnt out, it was dark, and when they got to the car, he thought his car was being towed because he saw some people outside their car. Right. And he said, "Hey, you towed my car," and they shot him right there. They could have left, they could have pushed him, they could have done anything.
Cold-blooded murder.
Yes, yes.
So you can relate to the Miller case. Random violent crimes seems like there's no rhyme or reason.
Right.
Except heartbreak.
There's so many similarities. Randy Miller was doing normal, law-abiding citizen things. He was just going to go load his boat to go fishing. He didn't provoke this person. He didn't do anything.
And surveillance video really helped solve your son's case.
Yes, it definitely did. It definitely helped solve Johnny's case. They retraced the steps before and after they murdered Johnny. And it showed, you know, their clothing, where they went, what they did. And you could get a clearer picture of it.
So that surveillance video was key.
In Randy Miller's case, we see there are 3 suspects. We see the vehicle. You see the murder actually happen.
Just don't look at that ring camera for the day of the crime. Go back. They
That's
might
right.
have been in your neighborhood before.
That's right.
You're a big proponent of that, aren't you?
Yes.
Go back as far as you can. They might have been casing it. They might be driving the same car, and you better get a better facial recognition.
That's exactly right.
That's a good tip for everybody that have been victim of a crime. If there's cameras around there,
send it in.
So when they got caught, how did you feel?
Relief, because I wasn't sure that was going to happen.
Right.
You do feel like you can start to heal. You never get over it. It never goes away.
I walked in your shoes.
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It took 27 years to solve Adams, my son's murder, solve his case.
That is just...
27 years of torture, wondering if we're ever going to find out. For me, I think you feel the same way. It's about ending that chapter.
Yes.
Well, you're a very brave lady.
Thank you.
Your son's your angel, like my son is my angel.
That's right.
And thank you for having the guts to come here and talk about this.
I feel that they're going to get caught.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks again for being here.
Sure.
Cal?
Let's find the people responsible for Randy Miller's murder. Be on the lookout for the getaway car, a silver 4-door 2013 to 2017 Volkswagen CC. Authorities haven't been able to identify the suspects from the surveillance video, which is why your voice matters, especially if you were in the Atlantic Beach, North Carolina area in late August 2022. Maybe you've seen that car, or maybe you've heard someone talk. Well, now's the time to speak up. One tip, one phone call could be the key to finally solving this case. Call us at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to our site, amwtips.com.
Coming up, a violent gang member sprays a strip mall with bullets and leaves a hard-working father dead on the pavement. We need your help taking one of the FBI's 10 most wanted off the streets. And later, he looks like just a regular guy, but police say this violent bank robber is anything but an average Joe. We need to bring this clown down. But first up, we need your tips to help us with this. A quiet suburban community in Virginia Beach is the scene of an unsuspecting crime. A woman, thinking she's safe sitting parked in her own driveway, is about to find out random acts of violence can happen anywhere. On Fern Ridge Road, 2 unidentified males approach a woman parked in her own driveway. One holding a gun attempts to steal the woman's vehicle. After demanding the victim give them her belongings, the woman begins to kick and scream in an attempt to scare the thieves away. Surprised by her reaction, the suspects disappeared, but these scumbags still remain at large. Do you recognize them? One dressed in a white t-shirt, his face exposed. The other male suspect wearing a face mask and hood. But look at this. Can you make out this logo? If you can, or you recognize these individuals from the Virginia Beach area in September 2024, call us or go online to amwtips.com. You don't want to miss what's next. This year marks 75 years of one of the most powerful crime-fighting tools ever created, the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. Out of more than 500 fugitives who've made that notorious list, get this, 17 were caught because of you and the tips you gave us right here at America's Most Wanted.
And thank you for your trust. You really make this mission possible. Now let's keep it going. Our next case is about a dirtbag who earned himself a spot on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted.
It was a senseless crime in Los Angeles. A hard-working father had just finished his shift and stopped at a store for a cold drink, something he did nearly every day. And then, without warning, everything changed.
Los Angeles Police Department. I would like to report a hit and run. Some guy just sideswiped the car.
There was an individual who called in a report of a hit and run earlier that day.
Did you happen to see the driver? He was light-skinned with glasses and like 300 pounds. But I'm following the guy because he's just driving all over the... Stop following the car. Stop following the car, okay? If he figures out that you're following him, he may try and do something.
Later on, outside of a barber shop, the driver was someone who allegedly shot somebody.
Me and Jabali, we were close. We were very close. He was very positive, great personality, a lot of energy. Growing up in Pacoima, we saw violent activities, and unfortunately, there was a time period Jabali identified as a Blood.
Jabali was a member of the Blood Street Gang in the late 90s and spent 2 years in prison on an armed robbery charge in the early 2000s. But precious time away from his toddler son, Jabali Jr., convinced him to leave the gang life behind.
He wanted to turn his life around. He would do whatever for his son.
When he got out of prison, he said that his main reason why he wanted to be, done with that past life of criminal activity was me. He can't raise a son if he's too busy rotting in jail. Growing up, my dad always gave me great advice. At one point, I joined the marching band, and he told me how to practice and how many hours you should really be putting in daily. And lo and behold, I was able to outwork everybody and actually become the captain of the drum team. He was very supportive.
Jabali was getting his life where he wanted it to be.
You understand?
Jabali was a sanitation worker, and he loved it.
August 15, everything changed.
Jabali went to work. He got off early, and he usually stops in this area to talk to some of his friends and just hang out a little bit before going home and relaxing.
He had just came out with another friend, and he was standing minding his own business when all of a sudden...
Fire paramedic operator 175 with the address of the emergency.
In front of the 99-cent store, somebody just got shot right now.
Where's the person that did the shooting?
I have no idea.
LAPD patrol officers responded. They were able to speak with multiple eyewitnesses who saw the suspect, who was approximately 300 pounds, who was wearing a black sweatshirt, gray pants. They saw him walk up, drew a firearm from his waistband, and fired approximately 6 rounds, striking Jumali Demas at least once in the head.
At the hospital, we learned he was in a coma. It's overwhelming.
It was devastating news, absolutely catastrophic.
There's nothing more hurtful than to know that your loved one is laying there. You'd be willing to give your own life in replace of that other person. That's the most hopeless feeling that a person can have.
While the LAPD had plenty of eyewitnesses, they still weren't able to identify the shooter. But the break in the case came from a 911 call earlier in the day.
It was approximately 2 hours prior to the shooting. There was a felony hit and run.
Would like to report a hit and run. Some guy just sideswiped a car.
Where a witness had seen the driver.
He was light-skinned with glasses.
Stop following the car.
The individual again calls in later on indicating that the vehicle is in the area and that the driver was most likely someone who had just shot somebody.
I have reported a hit and run earlier, and some guy shot somebody up the street. It's the same guy.
Can you give me the vehicle information?
The plate is...
Okay.
Using the license plate, the LAPD saw who the registered owner of the vehicle was. A dangerous gang member with the Van Nuys boys that operates in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles. Omar Cardenas.
The damage that the bullet did to his brain. The neurosurgeon basically said it was in God's hands.
Let's find Omar Cardenas and end this manhunt. Take a look. He's allegedly tied to the violent Pierce Street gang in LA's San Fernando Valley and goes by the nickname Dollar. Cardenas is a Latino male, 30 years old, about 5 feet 7 inches tall, and tips the scale at nearly 300 pounds. He has brown hair, brown eyes, and might be sporting a beard and wearing prescription glasses. If this sounds like someone you know, don't wait. Call Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $250,000 for information that puts this guy behind bars, right where he belongs.
Coming up, he walked into a bank like he owned the place, armed with a gun and zero hesitation, then grabbed the cash and vanished. Now, a reformed bank robber, once profiled here on AMW, joins us to help track this fugitive the FBI calls the Red Hat Guy. But first, we need your help solving this. A market in Oxon Hill, Maryland, is the scene where two thieves ram their way into the store to steal an ATM machine while causing thousands of dollars in damage. Around 4:50 a.m. at a Weiss Market on Livingston Boulevard, a white truck smashes through the store's display cases before parking in the middle of the debris. Then two masked men jump out and load the store's ATM machine into the back of their white Ford F-250 truck with noticeable damage on the side. The entire heist over in less than a minute. The only clue the thieves left was a white, nondescript license plate that ends in 389. So if you have any information about this brazen robbery, call our hotline at 866-AMW-TIPS or at amwtips.com. And remember, you can make a difference. Welcome back to America's Most Wanted. For 6 years, Jabali Dumas's family has lived with heartbreak and no justice. Now the FBI is turning up the heat, adding his accused killer, Omar Cardenas, to their infamous 10 Most Wanted list.
It was the Los Angeles Police Department identifying Omar Cardenas as the primary suspect. They produced photographs and showed it to eyewitnesses, who confirmed that looked to be the person that shot Jabali Dumas. Omar Cardenas, he's a member of the Van Nuys Boys gang, which at the time was warring with the Piru Blood Gang in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles. The location of where the crime occurred was a local hangout for the Piru Bloods. Most likely, Omar Cardenas was out searching around for a member of the Piru Blood Gang and was going to target them and attempt to kill them. Jabali Dumas used to be a Piru Blood Gang member. However, he had left that life.
Jabali was in the wrong place at the wrong time. At this point, medically, there's nothing that can be done. We stayed there until he took his last breath.
Authorities in Los Angeles start a citywide manhunt for Cardenas, who is very well known to law enforcement.
Omar Cardenas got a young start to criminal activity. In 2016, he had a narcotics arrest following the murder of Jabali Dumas. Omar Cardenas has been added to the FBI's top 10 most wanted because of his violent nature, as well as his ability to evade detection by law enforcement for several years at this point.
Jabali being murdered has devastated our family. It's not a day that goes by that we don't think about Jabali.
I still think about my dad every single day. Well, my protector is gone, my advisor is gone. It is the ultimate feeling of loneliness.
It's just like someone takes a knife, jabs it in your heart, and just twist and twist and twist. And to watch his only son have to witness that is so unfair. Omar Cardenas needs to be caught. What he did was wrong, and it's only fair that he be brought to justice.
Joining us now is Jennifer Love. She was an assistant director with the FBI, where she worked for 25 years. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, based on your experience, why would somebody do something like this?
He could be an enforcer. It could have been for street cred. But what I believe is it was a retaliation. The manner in which The incident occurred broad daylight. He allegedly cranked off 6 rounds and then casually walked off. Jabali had one time been in the Bloods. He had turned his life around, but one of the things that I often say to gang members and young people is you never get out.
Someone who turns their life around, a former gang member, but now reformed, and still the gang is knocking at his door.
They always remember, they tend to.
When it comes to gangs and retaliation, what needs to be done to end this violence?
The short answer would be no gangs, no violence. When this happens, you have to take those folks off the streets. You have to make sure you find them and make sure that justice is served. Otherwise, it continues.
Now, it's a big deal to be added to the FBI's top 10 most wanted.
The reason why it made the top 10 is because he fits the criteria perfectly. Violent offender, heinous crime, number 1. Someone who's evaded law enforcement, case has gone cold, and a belief that involving the public can give the case life and possibly lead to a conclusion. And it was, I keep bringing it back to this idea that it was a crowded strip mall. I go to a strip mall sometimes, right? There were innocent people out there that day.
So you think he's identifiable?
He's distinct in his size.
This guy's a whopping 300 pounds. I know it's not easy for a guy that big to hide.
Someone out there knows him and has seen him.
Absolutely.
I think we can get this guy with the public's help. He has to know that we're gonna find you and there's a consequence to your actions.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. So let's bring this monster in. Omar Cardenas is a 30-year-old Latino male, 5 feet 7 inches tall and weighs almost 300 pounds. He has brown hair and brown eyes, and it's possible he's wearing a beard and prescription eyeglasses. He allegedly shot Jabali Dumas in Sylmar, California, in the San Fernando Valley, so it's possible he could still be in Southern California. However, investigators believe Cardenas has ties all over Mexico where he could be hiding, including Tijuana, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. Or he could be working on a construction crew in Arizona or Texas. Remember, the FBI is offering up to $250,000 for his arrest and conviction. If you think you've seen him, don't approach him. He's considered armed and dangerous. Call us with your tips at 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com.
Coming up, it was a brazen stick-up, a quick, calculated bank heist caught on camera. We need your help to ID this dorky dirtbag before he strikes again. And then, he's America's top dog and a crime-fighting hero. Canine cop Bo the Bloodhound is in the house. So stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Now, this next case is a wild one. Not because the dirtbag stands out, but because he totally doesn't. Dressed more for a golf outing than a bank robbery, this crook in khakis pulled off a major bank heist.
My name is Paris Capilupo. I'm a detective with Montgomery County Police Department, and I'm also a task force officer with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. September 16, 2022, it was a busy Friday afternoon in Silver Spring. Approximately 12:25, we were notified that a man walked into the Truist Bank armed with a handgun inside his waistband. He's wearing a red hat with an unidentified logo on the hat. When he first walked into the bank, he asked to speak with a manager, which is not typical of average bank robbers. They want to get in and get out.
The man in the red hat then follows the bank manager into her office and pulls out a handgun. He then orders her to take him to these unsuspecting tellers.
The suspect in his actions and his words escalated this very quickly. He told the employees he wasn't afraid to die, that he would shoot them in the head, don't push any buttons or alarms. He terrified all the employees in that bank.
Customers fell to the floor in fear and fled the bank in a panic. Once the suspect left, a teller hit the silent alarm and called 911. After just 4.5 minutes inside, the suspect instructed the manager to walk him to a nearby parking garage, where surveillance caught him in a stairwell. But beyond that, nothing. No footage of his car, no sign of where he went, like he knew exactly where the cameras were located.
This bank robbery was not a small heist. In fact, it's the biggest heist I've worked in my 12 years of working bank robberies. When he left, he turned to the tellers and said, "Sorry for ruining your Friday." Based on how smoothly this bank robbery went, we do believe that he's done this before. He knew exactly what to say, where to go, and how to get out without leaving a trace. One of the most striking things we observed is his use of the firearm and his discipline with keeping his finger off the trigger. We find that to be only reserved for law enforcement, security, military during a traumatic event like this. This man is armed and dangerous and still at large. If you recognize this person, please contact your local authorities. You could help prevent his next heist or something worse.
Joining us now to discuss this bizarre case is a guest who was once a fugitive we featured right here on America's Most Wanted, and one of the biggest bank robbers in the country, Kane Vincent Dyer, known as the Kangaroo Bandit.
Hello, sir.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
You're on the right side.
It's nice to be invited here versus being featured.
Did you know we were on to you?
Once I was featured, I actually had several friends call me and say, "We think we just saw you on America's Most Wanted," or "There's a guy who looks just like you on America's Most Wanted." And I tried to lean on the, he looks just like me. But
Right.
it really did put a lot of pressure on me. It was, I guess you can call it the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
Yes, sir.
While you were out there, how many banks did you rob?
I robbed approximately 30 in the Los Angeles County area and about 75 more outside of that, so approximately 100 banks total.
What stands out about this bank robber? He wasn't a pro like you. I don't think so.
Well, it seems that way. It seems that way.
Amateur hour.
It seems he made a few mistakes.
Yeah.
He didn't take a bag in, something to carry the funds with, which speaks to two things, either nervousness where he forgets, or he knows that area and he knows they'd have bags and things that he could put the loot in.
Right. This video of this robber, he doesn't have his finger on the trigger. Do you think that this robber could be military or law enforcement?
That's exactly what I think. That's one of the things you learn doing basic
First
training.
thing.
Gun safety.
Keep that finger off the trigger.
Absolutely. And also, he has a limp, which would tell me he's probably on disability. Maybe the disability hasn't been able to cover everything. The fact that he said he was ready to die, this guy's hurting. This guy's hurting. It's probably not his regular thing he does.
I felt the same way, but you turned yourself in, am I right?
Yes, sir. I turned myself in. The number one motivating factor in my life was my family, my daughters. How can I tell them what's right and wrong when their dad's a criminal?
Right.
It was a hard decision. And I'll tell this gentleman that.
Right.
It's going to be a hard decision to pick up that phone and turn yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
Every sinner has a future and every saint has a past. He can put his life back together, just as I did, and do the right thing.
You're proof you can turn it around and do something good with your life.
I hope so, sir.
Cal?
Let's take a close look at this bank bandit. He's a white male, in his 50s, about 6 feet tall, and weighs 230 pounds. This guy has an everyman kind of look, but don't be fooled by his appearance. He's got a practiced grip on his weapon, leading investigators to believe he may have training in law enforcement, the military, or even private security. And there's one more key detail. He walks with a noticeable limp. If you've seen him, consider him armed and dangerous. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or go to amwtips.com.
Coming up next, he's got a badge, 4 legs, and one incredible nose. All the way from Gastonia, North Carolina, Bo the Bloodhound is here. Plus, more details on the fugitives we're looking for tonight. We need your tips to get some dangerous people off the streets. Let's get these dirt bags. Welcome back. He's tracked suspects, found missing persons, and made his community proud. And we want to give him a big AMW pat on the back. Bo, the canine cop, the American Humane Society's top dog. Sergeant David Rowland of the Gastonia Police Department in North Carolina is Bo's handler and partner. Great to have you here.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having us.
You guys do a great job.
Thanks for being here. I really appreciate this.
Give us a little background of Bo.
Yeah, Bo is a 2-year-old bloodhound that we got since he was 8 weeks old, and we trained him in-house.
And what makes bloodhounds so good at their job?
Yeah, so as you can see here, he's smelling around everywhere. So Bo here, he's just gonna lay down. Everything built about Bo is made for tracking. He has somewhere around 300 million olfactory receptors, which is unheard of. We only have around 5 million. I could introduce an article of clothing of yours and give it to Bo, and he'll only track you, and he wouldn't track you.
How many bad guys?
We've caught around 18 people so far.
Wow.
Bo's most infamous case was a kidnapped child that was taken at knife point, and Bo picked up the scent and tracked 7 miles to an abandoned house, located the woman still inside with a knife and the child.
He's a true hero.
Yeah, he's a great asset to our department and our community.
Got a little special treat for you and Bo. It's a special America's Most Wanted badge.
That's amazing. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate y'all.
And thanks, Bo.
How about a paw?
Oh, thank you, buddy. Okay. We're gonna need your help on some of these cases coming up, all right, buddy?
Anytime.
You know, Bo can't do it alone, and we need your tips too. So let's take one more look at the fugitives we need to catch tonight. We're on the hunt for 3 suspects who were allegedly involved in the murder of Randy Miller in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Authorities believe the suspects are not from Atlantic Beach and fled the scene driving a silver 4-door 2013 to 2017 Volkswagen CC. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations is offering a $75,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and convictions of these alleged killers.
Omar Cardenas is wanted for the senseless killing of Jabali Dumas in Sylmar, California. Cardenas is Latino, 30 years old, 5 foot 7 inches tall, and he weighs around 300 pounds. It's possible he's wearing a beard and prescription eyeglasses. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $250,000 for information leading to his arrest and conviction.
We also need to track down a stealthy bank robber in Silver Spring, Maryland. This guy could be someone you never thought of as a dangerous armed robber. He's a white male in his 50s, 6 feet tall, and 230 pounds, and has a noticeable limp. Remember, authorities believe this fugitive knows his way around guns, so he could have a law enforcement, military, or security background. If you have any information, don't wait. Call 1-866-AMW-TIPS or visit amwtips.com. Let's bring these fugitives to justice.
Now, before we go, let's take a quick look ahead to next week at a fugitive we're tracking down. A torched home, a shattered family. It's a brutal triple murder, and the manhunt for one of the most wanted fugitives in the Pacific Northwest is on. Your tip could bring this alleged killer in. Next week on America's Most Wanted.
Thank you for watching. I'm Callahan Walsh. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
And I'm John Walsh. Remember, you can make a difference.